It was a regular afternoon just like any other. Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the most famous soccer players in the world, decided to do something different. He wasn't on a soccer field scoring goals. He wasn't in a big stadium with thousands of fans cheering for him. He wasn't even in a fancy car surrounded by cameras. Today he just wanted to go shopping like a normal person. So he dressed simply, comfortable clothes, sneakers, and a cap pulled low over his face. No bodyguards. No big crowds followed him. No expensive watches or flashy jewelry. He just wanted to enjoy a quiet moment alone. As he walked into the store, the lights sparkled above him like tiny stars. The place was grand and beautiful, with crystal chandeliers hanging from the ceiling. The clothes were displayed neatly on glass shelves, each item looking like a work of art. Everything in the store was expensive, made for people who lived in luxury. The workers walked around carefully, speaking softly, moving with elegance. They were always alert, watching closely to see if a famous person or a rich customer entered. This was a store for special people, or at least those who looked like they belonged in this world. Ronaldo walked over to one of the racks and gently touched the fabric of a beautiful Italian suit. It was soft, smooth, and perfectly made. He smiled slightly, enjoying the feel of the material. But then he noticed something strange. The workers were staring at him. Not with excitement, not with kindness, but with curiosity and whispers. He could see them glancing at him, smirking and exchanging looks. He had felt this before, but today it felt different. Did they know who he was? Or were they judging him for how he looked? Then a woman with sharp eyes and a serious face stepped forward. She was the store manager. She was dressed in an elegant suit, her hair perfectly styled, her lips pressed together in a thin, tight line. She didn't smile. She didn't greet him. Instead, she looked at him from head to toe as if she was trying to figure out if he was good enough to be in her store. Her expression said everything. He didn't look like their usual customer. Ronaldo reached out to pick up a jacket to try on. But before he could even touch it, the woman suddenly stepped in front of him, blocking his way. "Perhaps you'd find something more affordable elsewhere," she said coldly. The store became completely silent. Customers stopped what they were doing. The workers glanced at each other nervously. Some chuckled softly, others just watched, waiting to see what would happen next. What nobody in the store realized was that they were about to witness a huge mistake. The manager smirked, folding her arms. She was confident. She thought she was making the right decision. "If you're looking for something simpler, I can recommend some stores down the street," she added, her voice dripping with fake politeness. Her message was clear. "You don't belong here." Cristiano didn't respond right away. He simply blinked, thinking. He wasn't angry, he had faced unfair treatment before. But something about this moment felt crueler. This wasn't a soccer game. This wasn't about skill, talent, or hard work. This was about how he looked. And the woman in front of him had no idea she was making the biggest mistake of her life. Other people in the store started to react. A woman wearing lots of expensive jewelry glanced at Ronaldo with amusement, as if enjoying the scene. She didn't know who he was. To her, he was just another person being told to leave a place he didn't belong. Some workers exchanged glances. A few of them seemed uncomfortable. Others laughed quietly, thinking the whole situation was funny. But one worker, a young man standing near the counter, suddenly froze. His eyes widened as he looked at Ronaldo again. Something clicked in his mind. He had just realized who this ordinary-looking man really was. His heart pounded. He knew this was bad. Really bad. Without a second thought, he spun around and ran toward the back office where the store director, the big boss, was sitting. The office door burst open. A man in a crisp suit and polished shoes stepped out. His face was serious, his eyes sharp. He looked around the store quickly, searching for the problem. Then he saw Ronaldo standing in front of the manager. The moment he realized what was happening, his face changed completely. His eyes widened in shock. His jaw dropped slightly. Then, within seconds, his serious face was replaced with a bright, excited smile. Without hesitation, he walked straight toward Ronaldo, his steps quick and purposeful. When he reached him, he stretched out his hand, beaming with respect and admiration. "Mr. Ronaldo, what an honor to have you here with us," he exclaimed, his voice warm and full of excitement. The entire store froze. The whispers stopped. The quiet chuckles disappeared. The smirks faded. The manager, who had just been so confident and rude, turned pale. Her hands started to tremble. Her eyes darted back and forth between Ronaldo and the director, trying to understand what was happening. "Mr. Ronaldo?" she whispered, barely able to speak. The man she had treated so poorly, the one she had tried to send away, was actually Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the richest, most famous, and most respected athletes in the world. The customers who had been enjoying the scene before suddenly felt awkward. They looked away, shifting uncomfortably. Some turned red with embarrassment, realizing they had judged him too. The store director's smile grew wider. "Please, Mr. Ronaldo, allow me to personally assist you. Whatever you like, whatever you want, it would be our pleasure to help you." The manager swallowed hard. She wanted to disappear. She had been so quick to judge him, thinking he didn't belong. And now, in front of everyone, she realized her mistake. It was too late. She had made the worst mistake in the store's history. Cristiano Ronaldo, still calm, still composed, looked at her one last time. He didn't need to say anything. His silence spoke louder than words. Then, with a small, polite smile, he simply turned and walked out of the store. The customers started. The workers held their breath. The manager stood frozen, her face burning with shame. As Ronaldo stepped outside, the young worker who had recognized him watched him leave with admiration. He knew he had done the right thing by running to get the director. The store had lost a huge opportunity. And the manager? She would never forget this day. Ever. Some people in the store took out their phones, excited to record what was happening. They could sense that something important was going on, and they didn't want to miss a single moment. The store director, a man in a sharp suit who always tried to stay in control, looked at the manager. His face was serious, and his voice, though polite, carried a hint of tension as he asked, "Is our special customer getting the respect he deserves?" The manager swallowed hard. She could feel all eyes on her now. Just a few moments ago, she had been so confident, thinking she knew exactly who deserved attention and who didn't. But now, standing in front of one of the most famous football players in the world, she realized her mistake. Cristiano Ronaldo, who could have been angry or insulted, did not yell or demand an apology. Instead, he gave a small, knowing smile. He didn't have to say a word. The heavy silence in the store and the embarrassed, panicked look on the manager's face spoke for him. Everything had changed in an instant. A few minutes ago, the manager had felt powerful, in control of the situation. Now, the entire store was watching, waiting to see what would happen next. The lesson she was about to learn would be one she would never forget. The air in the store felt thick with tension. The manager, who had been so sure of herself before, now seemed smaller. Her eyes moved nervously from the director to Ronaldo, searching for a way out. But deep down, she knew there was no escape. The mistake was hers, and there was nothing she could do to take it back. The silence felt heavy. Every person in the store, customers, employees, even the security guards, was waiting for Ronaldo to react. Would he shout? Would he demand that she be fired? Would he walk out and tell the world what had happened? But Ronaldo didn't do any of those things. He had faced challenges far bigger than this. He had played in the world's biggest stadiums, dealt with pressure beyond what most people could imagine, and overcome hardships that no one knew about. He didn't need to prove anything to anyone. Slowly he turned to the manager. His face was calm, his voice steady. And then, with a slight smile, he said something that made her heart race. "I hope this store treats all customers with respect, no matter how they look." The words were simple, but they carried great weight. The manager felt them hit her like a cold wind. She opened her mouth, wanting to say something, an apology, an excuse, anything, but nothing came out. Her throat was dry. What could she say? That she hadn't realized who he was? That it was just a misunderstanding? But she knew the truth. She didn't need to recognize someone to treat them with respect. That should have been a given, no matter who walked through the store's doors. The director, realizing just how badly the situation had gone, quickly stepped in, desperate to fix things before they got worse. "Mr. Ronaldo, please allow me to give you the best shopping experience we can offer. Anything you need, we will make sure you have it." His voice was full of urgency and respect. He knew how dangerous this moment could be for the store's reputation. But Ronaldo wasn't interested in special treatment. He didn't want fancy apologies or extra kindness just because of who he was. He simply looked at the director and gave a small nod. "I'd like another employee to help me," he said, completely ignoring the manager. The manager's face turned pale. She felt like a ghost in her own store. A place where she had felt so powerful just minutes ago now seemed unfamiliar, cold. She had never felt so small. As Ronaldo calmly picked out his clothes, the feeling in the store shifted. The customers who had been entertained by watching someone get mistreated earlier now saw the situation in a completely different way. They no longer looked at the manager with admiration. Instead, they looked at her with quiet judgment. She had made a mistake and everyone had seen it. She had tried to belittle a man who was one of the richest and most respected athletes in the world. And now she was the one who felt unimportant. Every item Ronaldo selected, every shirt, every jacket, every pair of shoes, was like a reminder of what she had done. Ronaldo paid for his things without making a big deal out of it. He didn't throw a fit. He didn't demand an apology. He didn't need to. His actions had already made the biggest statement possible. He left the store without looking back, but the lesson he had given would stay in that store forever. Because respect is not something that should be given only to those who are rich or famous. Respect should be for everyone. And today, the manager had learned that lesson in the hardest way possible. As the door closed gently behind Ronaldo, the weight of what had happened still hung in the air. No one spoke. No one moved. It was as if time had stopped for just a few seconds, letting the reality of the situation fully settle in. The manager stood there, frozen, feeling the stares of the customers and employees around her. In just a few minutes, everything had changed. And the worst part? It was all her own fault. People would talk about this moment. The employees would whisper about it during their breaks. The customers would tell their friends about what they had seen. This story would spread, becoming a legend inside the store. A warning. A reminder that judging someone by their appearance could be a terrible mistake, sometimes even bigger than the most expensive item on display in those glass cases. For Ronaldo, this was just another day. He had seen this kind of behavior before, in different places, in different ways. He knew the world often treated people differently based on their clothes, their looks, or how much money they seemed to have. It wasn't new to him. But that didn't make it right. Maybe later the manager would try to fix things. Maybe she would try to explain herself to the director or her co-workers. Maybe she would even promise to change. But no matter what she did, she couldn't erase what had happened today. She had been exposed in the most painful way possible, in front of everyone. Outside, Ronaldo took a deep breath of fresh air. He didn't feel anger or bitterness. He had learned long ago that people make mistakes and some lessons are best learned the hard way. He carried on with his day, unbothered, knowing that he had left behind something far more valuable than any designer outfit. For the manager, however, this day would never be forgotten. The true cost of her mistake wasn't just the embarrassment. It was knowing that from this moment on, everyone in that store would always remember what she had done and how badly she had judged the wrong person. If you enjoyed this story, share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories filled with adventure, mystery, and excitement. Your support means the world and it helps keep these stories coming. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.